Ari has left me the opportunity to just start off today, to start off our week in a little prayer. I asked his permission if I could do such a thing today. He gladly granted it to me. But one of my rabbis, when I was really, really young, told me that every person has a certain character in the Bible that is their mentor, that is their template, that is their example, that there's something about a specific character in the Bible that most speaks to them in their own life. And it could be that that character changes actually throughout life. It doesn't necessarily need to be, well, when I was 18, it was Abraham, and when I was 25, it was King David. It could change throughout their life. But for whatever reason, the character that I most identify with more than any other character is Abraham. I just feel like the stories of Abraham, the message of Abraham, to be a father of many nations, to go on the journey, everything about Abraham's life just speaks so dearly to me. And I just wanted to lead our fellowship with a prayer in the name of Abraham Avinu, in the name of Abraham, our father. And so just with everyone that are from around the world, just to kind of take a moment and unite our hearts and unite our minds through this land and direct it towards heaven. And so Hashem, thank you so much for this fellowship. Thank you for today. Thank you for Ari, and thank you for the Torah. Where would we be without the Torah? Thank you for Avraham Avinu to give us the way, to be a blessing to all nations that he wasn't able to see in his own life. And here we see 3,000 some odd years later, literally a blessing to the entire world. Thank you for allowing us to hear our own calling. Help us hear it. Help us tune in to our destiny, to our mission. And thank you for allowing all of our missions to somehow intertwine with each other. And thank you for bringing us all together in these days as an example of what Avraham would have wanted to see in the world. So many people from so many nations and so many backgrounds under one tent, under his covenant, under his promise, and all of us connected to the land that was promised to him. What a marvelous thing to be alive, to see and to experience. So may we bring that light into the rest of our week, and may we keep the promises of Abraham close to our heart. Amen. Okay, so I have a little Torah that I want to share today, and it's obviously all interconnected to what Ari also said as the introduction. And so what I want to do first is I would like to talk about a little bit what we spoke about last week. And we talked about the law of reflection last week, how that's almost the first lesson that's taught to us through the story of Noah, that our outside world is a mirror of our inside world, and our inside world will be reflected on our outside world. When we're overwhelmed and we're confused and life is chaotic, most likely our house and our surroundings will be very chaotic, because that's just what's happening to us. And Noah was told, listen, there's about to be a flood. The flood represents the chaos, the tohu of the world. And God says, all right, in times of chaos, build an ark, make order. And so can we get the thing up on the screen? Oh, perfect. And so here, the word panim in Hebrew, Ari just mentioned that, means face. And panim also means interior. And so that is the basis for this upcoming Torah, that lech lecha, we're told that Avram's told to go on a journey to the outside, into the world. But ultimately, the outward journeys, wherever they might take us, are really inward journeys towards discovering ourselves. That panim, that exterior experience, is just an internal journey. And the fundamental claim of the Bible is that we're not just stumbling around this world, but that we have the ability to tune in and receive guidance, to receive direction, intuition that somehow aligns us with the master plan and allows us to play our part in the ultimate design of the Creator. That somehow we're able to tune into ourselves and find our specific mission, our own journey. And in that outward journey, somehow our own inner destiny is also revealed. And so, yes?
Well, just the camera needs to be adjusted.
Oh, the camera needs to be adjusted. I can't see. That's what I said. I usually have a camera of me so I could just see what that looks like. Oh, Ari, you don't know how to set it up. I guess you're taller than me. Oh, you're bigger than me. All right. He's bigger than me, but I'm a higher ranking officer in the army than he is. So I have the ranks. All right, here we are. All right, so let's get back to what we were talking about. Lech lecha. Okay, the outward journey, the entire story of the unfolding story of Abraham is really lecha. It's to yourself. The grammar is like unclear. It's go to yourself to the land that I will show you. That's what it's teaching us. That outward journey, that panim, is really to go to yourself. That's just what it's saying. Go to the land, but as you're going to the land on your outward journey, that's what's happening. All the challenges, the obstacles, the tests, they just allow us to discover what we're really made of. And the word discover, a friend of mine just told me last week, means remove, cover. We're just removing the cover to find out what was always on the inside. That's what the word discover means. And also that's what the word discovery in Hebrew means, gilui. It means just to unveil what was already there. So this whole world is just a world of discovery. And there's no other way to discover who we are and what we're made of until we're really on our own journeys out into the wilderness of our lives, into the unknown. And so it's like the outward journey is just a tool for us to develop our own rich inner world, a deeper world, a more meaningful world. And Abraham never sees his destiny in his lifetime. He is told he's going to impact the entire world. He's going to be a father of many nations. He never became a king. He only had one son. He spent his life on a journey. Even when he arrives in the land of Israel, he just goes from place to place. He never gets to see the promise that was promised to him. And that's the whole point, that the blessings of Abraham, the promise to Abraham, it was never about the exterior journey. That journey toward the land of Israel, the journey inside the land of Israel, was just to reveal his inner world that continues to bless us until today. And that's why Rashi, the Midrash, says, Lech lecha. What does that language mean? It's letovatcha v'lehanatcha. It's for your good. It's for your pleasure. If you go out on this journey, it may be hard, it may be challenging, but ultimately it will bring you the ultimate good. And in the end of your life, it'll be the ultimate pleasure because you finally are tapped in to your true desire, your true will. If you embark on the journey, you're going to have to go inside. Now, lech lecha means something even more deep than that. All of us, we want approval. We want acceptance. We want to make sure that what we're doing is the right thing. I'll give you an example. I was 21 years old, when I met Tehila. Tehila was 19, and I really thought that I wanted to marry her. And I'm like, well, I'm just not going to make this decision on my own. It's just too much for my shoulders to carry. Tehila, here's the number of my parents. I'd like you to give them a call, maybe invite them out to dinner. And if my parents don't like you, sorry, I'm not going to marry you. That is just not going to happen because I needed the approval. I needed the acceptance. I was only 22. She was 19. I needed shoulders that were bigger than my shoulders to sort of carry the responsibility of making a lifelong commitment that was just out of my pay grade. And of course, Tehila called my parents. My parents adored her. And then the deal was sealed. But as we grow in life, lech lecha. So the Midrash teaches us, listen, you're going to have to go inside. You're going to have to leave your family. You're going to have to leave your parents. You're going to have to leave your grandparents. You're going to have to leave your culture. You're going to have to leave your friends. You're going to have to leave any kind of approval, confirmation, acceptance that you're looking from the outside, and you're going to have to learn to trust yourself. You're going to have that inner intuition and have the inner power to act on it, even when everyone is telling you not to. Abraham is called an Ivri, and that's what it means. He was so strong on the inside that he was able to be on the Ever, on the other side, with everyone on one side of the world, and he was on the other side of the world, and he said, the entire world is wrong. There's not multiple gods. There's not multiple idols. There's only one God. I know it on the inside, and I'm going to act based on my own inner intuition, even though the entire world around me is telling me otherwise. And that is a fundamental part of the process of us going on our own spiritual journeys, in our faith journeys, in our own lives. We have to be able to trust our inner intuitions and be able to act upon them. And so people might tell you you're nuts. People might say you're weird. They won't understand you. They're not supposed to understand you because your journey is unique to you and your family. You have a different destiny, a unique destiny that only you could ever really understand, because your circumstances, your background, your family, your upbringing, your education, you have a certain special reality that no one else will ever really be able to know other than you and your creator. And so what then is at the core of this inner journey outward? What is that? What are we actually looking for? It's like, we know, go on the inside. It just sounds too new agey to me. Discover yourself, discover your inside. What's the tachlis here? Like, what does that actually mean? And so what this inner journey is all about, the Torah calls it's our journey to Eretz Yisrael. It's our journey to the land of Israel. That's at least the map that's given to us in the story of Abraham. It's all the way to the land that I will show you, La'aretz Asher Ar'eka. And so the land that I will show you, in the mystical writings of Judaism, it says that the land represents our will, our desire. And we can see that not only in the mystical writings, but we can actually see that revealed in the Hebrew language itself. Can we get the slide up on the land? Arza literally means to the land. Where was Abraham going? Arza. He is going to the land. Erze, which is the same exact words, is I will desire. I will want. The Hebrew language here is teaching us, you want to go on the inside on your inner journey. What you're really looking for on that journey is, what do you really want? What is your real desire? And we've talked about this before, because man is complicated. We're made of earth, we're made of the material, but we have this consciousness. And we have this soul, we have this awakeness, we have this aliveness, we have this thing that's beyond the physical, and they're somehow interwoven with each other. And most of the world today is focused on the physical. Well, I want a pretty wife, I want a lot of money, I want a nice car, I want a big house. All of that is on the outside. But you know what? On the inside, our soul is not really interested in any of that. And the truth is, none of that stuff brought anyone happiness ever. The soul isn't thriving because of the stuff on the outside. The soul has another desire. It wants something totally different. And it could be that each person in their own individual journey is going to discover, you know what my soul wants? My soul wants to bring love into the world. My soul wants to bring knowledge into the world. It's something that's like higher than the physical. It's something that's more ethereal. It's something that's more spiritual. It's something that's more enlightened. And the inner journey on this derech, on this way, is to discover, what is my actual desire? What does my soul really want? And then what is Abraham told? He's told us the greatest secret. In the end, it seems like God is like kind of doing a deal with Abraham. He says, listen, lech lecha, go on this journey. Go to the land of Israel, discover yourself, and discover your inner desires, who you're meant to be in the world. And each one of the patriarchs, by the way, has a different inner dimension that they meant to reveal into the world. And that's what next week fellowship is going to be about. Because Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, they're three paradigms, three totally different destinies, three soul journeys that needed to be manifest, three virtues that needed to be brought into the world that are totally separate. But at the end, God says to Abraham, I'll make you a great nation. All families of the earth will be blessed through you. I'll make your name great. The whole world will know who Abraham is. And at the very, very end, he says to Abraham, if you go on this journey, veheye bracha, and you will be a blessing. And right there is the key to Torah living, right there. When Abraham hears that, he's like, I'm in. I get to be a blessing. I don't just get to bless others. I am a blessing everywhere that I go. I'm going to meet someone in the street. I'm going to meet someone in the supermarket. I'm going to have someone in my house. I'm going to meet someone. I'm going to teach them. I am going to be a blessing. I'm in. And ever since that moment, every believer has been given a mandate, a mission in the world. How can they become a blessing? How are they a blessing? How do they manifest their soul in the world in their own unique way, that when they encounter this universe, whether it be through people, whether it be through the environment, whether it be through animals, whether it be through their bosses or their employees or their families or their children or their neighbors, what are they? They are a blessing. That is the ultimate inner journey, that we figure out how to turn our lives not into something that will only bless others, but that we're just a blessing already. And that was the greatest teaching of Abraham, that on his journey to the land of Israel and all the tests that he passed and all the obstacles he had to overcome, ultimately, his greatest gift was that he became a blessing that continues to bless millions of people throughout the generations. And so I want to bless all of us, that we have the courage and we have the strength to not care what the outside world says, and that we tune inside and have enough confidence on the inside to then go to the outside, to follow our destiny and to become a blessing, to bring as much light as we can to as many people as we can. And that way, I know that happiness will manifest, blessing will manifest, light will be brought into this dark world. And our fellowship has a very important mission here. We are beacons of light, and we have ambassadors in 50 countries around the world, lighting it up all over. And if we can all really take it upon ourselves that our mission is to do exactly what was promised to Abraham, we want to be a blessing and bless everyone in our surroundings, then who knows how far that might take us. So I'll let it over to Ari here again. It's wonderful to see all your beautiful faces, the panim, and then what Ari said, it's like the bifnim. You just see the insides, and all of you are such beautiful souls. So I will see you again next week. Hi, my name is Jeremy Gimpel. A lot of people want to know exactly what the Land of Israel Fellowship is and what members receive when they join. So let me explain. The Land of Israel Fellowship is a global online community with hundreds of members from over 40 countries around the world. There are live sessions and gatherings that create a direct personal connection to the Land of Israel and to lovers of Israel from around the world. There's no online gathering that I'm familiar with that is connected to the Land of Israel, that unites and brings together such a diverse group of people, backgrounds, and nationalities. It feels like prophecy. It feels like something we need in these times, like a window in to a better future on the horizon. There's a divine unity we experience every week in our fellowship broadcast. We heard these amazing teachings from an authentic Hebrew and Israel perspective, and our jaws drop. Not only because they ring so true and are such a blessing, because they are so consistent with what we believe. These Sunday morning gatherings are nothing less than a house of prayer for all nations. Cindy Lowe, the United States of America. The Land of Israel Fellowship is an amazing resource for learning Torah, the Bible, and the prophets, unfiltered and uncensored, directly from the Land of Israel. We've been studying Torah for almost 20 years, but we feel we are stepping into it more than ever and seeing new depth and dimensions to Scripture. We're encouraged more and more every week. Callan Ardell, USA. Members receive access to all the archives in the library of teachings on every portion of the Torah, the biblical feasts, Hebrew prayer, prophecy, sessions on the ancient wisdom of the prophets of Israel to help us navigate through these turbulent times. These sessions are so rich. I re-listen to each, and truly each session is the best one yet. Tehila is a tremendous asset, and the teachings Ari shares are so rich. I've read the Bible so many times, and I've known the things you are teaching. The Hebrew understanding is what Christians have missed for centuries. Sister Georgian from Germany. The Land of Israel Fellowship is truly unique because it's built upon personal relationships with the teachers of the fellowship. Myself, Rabbi Ari Abramowitz, and Tehila Gimpel. Every member has direct access to the staff 24/6 via email or direct WhatsApp to ask questions, to comment, to connect directly to all the teachers. And over the last years, we've connected to some of the most beautiful people on the planet. So if you want to find out more and join the Land of Israel Fellowship, you can click on the link below. And if you want to try it out for just a month, you can email fellowship@thelandofisrael.com and we'll hook you up. I hope to see you. Shalom from the mountains of Judea.